Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. I normally don't live stream late on Tuesday evenings, but I decided to tonight because I'm off and I don't know if I'm going to be able to live stream for the rest of the week due to the work schedule I have. And tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, so I am likely not to live stream tomorrow. So I figured tonight is the night to do it. I'm late because I just came back from Cracker Barrel. Had my little pancake supper since I woke up too late to go to church to get my pancakes. So that's why that's what's happening here. So let me change this here for a second, so nobody thinks I'm too much of a Jesus freak or what have you. So visual effects. I'm going to go with this. Emphasizes the Green Party. So with the sunflower seeds and all. So anyway, how are y'all doing tonight, folks? Again, I'm Willie Bragg. We have Warren. Warren's here this evening, back to back Willie. Uncle Warren says Max Sergey, and Warren returned the favor by saying, "Hey, Max." So, all right. So, let's talk about something that just popped up. Came to my attention last night. The rumor for a while is that AOC is planning to run for president. We probably all have a shared history with AOC. We really did like her at the first. Then, as time went on, she became more and more disappointing, and that's kind of where we're at right now with AOC. And I mean, I won't go into detail as to my feelings about AOC, except that AOC again has she's disappointed me in many ways. In many ways. So that's basically what I'm talking about. And so essentially, what I'm trying to say is that I'm absolutely kind of tired of having to sit there and play the fall guy for her. So, hold on a second here. A better background. Hold on. Context, folks. That's what it comes down to. So, bear with me here. Okay. I think better than that is this, because that tells you a little bit better of a story. So, okay. So here's the deal. When it comes to history of AOC over the years. AOC was, Tulsi Gabbard was the AOC of 2016. I've always have said that. I die on that hill because she was Bernie Sanders' campaign surrogate, just as AOC today is the campaign surrogate for Bernie Sanders. Well, was the campaign surrogate. And I guess, but she still goes on tour with him, with like the oligarchy tour and everything, which I do endorse, by the way. Not the not going back into the Democratic Party, but to rally a broader movement to become more labor conscious, aware. I sort of take a Ron approach, meaning that yeah, I support the anti-oligarchy tour that Bernie Sanders is doing, but I'll also support the work of Kshama Sawant's workers strike back and the conference they had a couple of months ago on workers' rights and what he can do to revise, relive or resurrect a labor movement, which we are in dire need of today, more than ever. We are in dire need of a resurgent labor movement, which is belligerent and uncompromising and militant. I go with those words exactly. But and AOC, when she can, or she has the ability of saying good things or things that we agree with. But the problem with AOC is that she's not been her best many times. When she got elected in 2018, we were happy. We were happy with her election. But as time went on, we saw AOC basically. I won't fault her necessarily for voting for Biden in 2020, even though she should have voted for Howie Hawkins or some other third party candidate. But they expected something from Biden. And certainly Republicans were fearful that AOC and Bernie Sanders and even Elizabeth Warren had a lot of influence on Biden. I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We didn't even get a $15 an hour minimum wage. We didn't get. There was no force to vote. There was nothing. The squad were pretty damn compliant. So, and I've gotten to, and AOC voted to bust a strike. Never forget that she voted to bust a strike from happening. The railroad workers back in late 2022. And so, the thing about it is that under these circumstances, I cannot bring myself to support AOC in 2028 when she runs for president. She runs for president, or she decides to run for the U.S. Senate. And I mean, I don't hate her. I don't hate her. In fact, in some ways, I might even have a soft spot for AOC. But here's the thing about AOC: I can't even critically support her at this point because at least when Bernie Sanders ran in 2016, 2020, he had the receipts that it would take. I mean, he basically ran the city of Burlington, Vermont, in a way that a Swedish social democrat would run a municipality in Sweden or something along those lines. So Bernie's got receipts. What has AOC's got? She's got the social influencer niche that she has going for her. She is attractive and she is charming in her way. There are times unfortunately, she doesn't have the chops it takes to run for president because, AOC, she's not stupid or anything like that, but she is very immature. And immature people, I know it paid off for the asshole in the White House right now, and but I'm just saying that's a general rule, if you're not insane like Donald Trump, but you kind of come across as a little bit immature, and you don't have the money he has, you're not going to make it in politics or make it to, let's say, their presidency or something like that. Now, I'm not one to sit there and to have any love for the duopoly, but I will say this: that if AOC was smart, she would go and I don't mean like she's dumb saying that. I mean if she used her common sense, which she lacks. If she used her common sense, she could go and if Chuck Schumer is still insisting on remaining a U.S. senator, he can go and do a primary challenge, which I think that Chuck Schumer is scared to death of AOC in that regard. But the presidency is out of questions. And honestly, I think that Chuck Schumer will probably still end up winning out in a primary challenge if such a situation happened. As far as the presidency is concerned, hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. They fucked Bernie twice. They will do the same thing to you, AOC. They would allow Liz Cheney to be the Democratic nominee in 2028 before they allow you, AOC. And I have a conspiracy theory brewing about Jasmine Crockett, that she's being pushed by the Democrats because as a centrist, milquetoast centrist substitute for AOC to kind of divide the any potential of her becoming an insurgent candidate or something along those lines. So I don't take AOC seriously, folks. I don't understand why the right takes her seriously, because I mean she's ineffectual. That's what it comes down to, ineffectual. I think it was a Davos conference. And let me find the video. Glenn Greenwald had this to say about AOC. So let me go ahead and set this up here. Take it away.
what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And
yes, everybody would like to make sure we never get to the point where China attacks Taiwan and we're faced with the choice of whether we intervene militarily. We all know that. The question was, what will you do? What should the United States do in the event that China does attack Taiwan militarily?
We want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
I'm sorry, she's a joke, at least when it comes still to foreign policy. I'll leave everything else aside since we're focused on that. And it is a recent debate as well. Like I said, under the Biden administration, there were some extremely hawkish and provocative statements Joe Biden made about Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi elevated that as a major issue to the House caucus. She could just say, which she sort of did inadvertently, I think it's best to, I believe in strategic ambiguity that the United States has always offered. So I don't think we ought to say in advance what we're going to do to leave that ambiguity as the explicit answer that we give while we work with. I mean, there were many things she could have said, but she had no idea what she was supposed to say on any of this. And so she basically ended up saying nothing other than, I think we ought to do everything possible to avoid that. Yes, everybody agrees with that, AOC. If you avoid it, it will never become an issue. But the issue is, we actually move closer to Chinese aggression in its region, to the belief that China has that they can take Taiwan, with the United States militarily distracted in so many other places. You have to, if you announce to the global media that you're going to make your foreign policy debut as a serious thinker, as somebody who can be taken seriously as a national, this is an absolute horror show, a disaster.
And I think what we are hoping.
And he's not wrong saying that. He is not wrong. Even Kyle Kalinske himself a couple of years ago said she doesn't have the chops it takes to run for president. The policies may be good, but she doesn't have the chops that it takes to do this. So, and again, I'm not one to sit there wanting to go and burst her bubble or anything like that. It's just we seem to song and dance. I mean, many of us, many people were happy with Obama in 2000. I'll go further to that. Everybody in 1992 that kind of was familiar to me, whether they were as radical as I am today or kind of getting there in 1992, we knew that Bill Clinton was not all that great, but we voted for Bill Clinton in 92 thinking that something has to give. And he continued being a 1989 George Herbert Walker Bush Republican who happens to be pro-choice on abortion and don't hate gay people. That was basically the difference right there. And then, we all got excited with Barack Obama. Oh my gosh, Barack Obama ended up being another centrist disaster. And so, and then, we all got on board with Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020. Again, we were disappointed. So I go to, I'm sorry. I don't see what's so different about AOC that things will work out as planned in a good way this time around. I just don't see it. I just don't see it at all. Maybe I'm blind as hell, but I just don't. So let me go ahead and I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and find the article at hand. Okay. All right. Article. Okay. All right. I'm going to make this quick because I'm going to go to sleep soon because I'm incredibly tired. As you saw me yarning just now. This is from the article. Did the article disappear? Oh no, it didn't. Okay, I thought the article disappeared from the Hill. It didn't. Okay. Ocasio-Cortez says she went to Munich not because I'm running for president. Yeah, right. She is planning to run for president. Without a doubt, she is planning to run, and can't convince me otherwise. So let me go ahead and try to find that article again. Ocasio-Cortez says she spent way too much. Went to Munich, not because I'm running for president. Yeah, that's exactly why, because she is in fact going to be running for president. So I guess we'll go ahead and play this, and I'll read the article.
Ocasio-Cortez says she went to Munich, not because I am running for president. By Ryan Mancini. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat from New York, said Monday she went to the annual Munich Security Conference this month, not because I am running for president, amid speculation that she could pursue the 2028 Democratic nomination. While speaking on the phone with the New York Times, Ocasio-Cortez recalled a reporter previously asking her if Munich is the new New Hampshire. She explained she cannot say enough how out of touch and missing the point. Genuinely, that is. The New York progressive said she went to the conference, not because I am running for president, not because I have made some kind of decision about a horse race or a candidacy, but because we need to sound the alarm bells that a lot of those folks in nicely pressed suits in that room will not be there much longer if we do not do something about the runaway inequality that is fueling far-right populist movements. She praised her meetings with European leaders, saying she was pleasantly surprised by the reception she received. Former Irish President Mary Robinson said Ocasio-Cortez's presence at the conference offered a fresh voice and left-wing views appealing to Europeans. I am not sure America's ready for that yet, Robinson told The Times. But maybe it is. Ocasio-Cortez said present working-class interests are undermined by movements fueled by various right-wing leaders, including Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Argentinian President Javier Milei, and former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Everyone has got this story wrong that this is about me running for president, she said. I could give whatever about that, to be honest. The story is less about the opponents being some hypothetical primary. To me, my opponents are the network that links Orban, Trump, Milei, Bolsonaro, all of these folks. If I were running, she later said, if I had made a decision or anything about being president or Senate, or anything like that, frankly, I say this all the time. Am I acting like someone who is trying to run? No, because I am there for a very different specific purpose. Reception toward Ocasio-Cortez's trip to Munich was mixed, with most of the criticism being pointed at the foreign issues she discussed. This included what the U.S. should do if China invades Taiwan and Venezuela's placement near the equator. She also defended her use of the word genocide to describe Israel's bombardment of and cessation of humanitarian aid into Gaza. This came after she was criticized for backing former Vice President Kamala Harris for president in 2024. While critics politically aligned with Ocasio-Cortez accused the Biden administration of war crimes in supporting Israel. Other possible 2028 contenders for the Democratic nomination were in Munich, including Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, and California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat. Both attended the conference to rail against President Trump, with Newsom saying he wanted to assure European leaders that Trump is temporary.
And that's kind of something I hope y'all heard it, what was being said. That kind of sums it up pretty much, what was said right there. And she's going to have some conflicts and some problems and everything. And she's not stupid, but she's not mature either. And that will remain an issue. Unfortunately speaking, she doesn't have the chops that it takes. And so, I mean, in a way, sad because, who else is going to run? Well, there is one other person that may end up running. And I would argue, if you're going to go and believe in the duopoly, if you're going to believe in the duopoly and think that the duopoly is going to save you or it's worth preserving, I will say this. If you really did believe that about the duopoly, I would say that, I would say this. Let me get the photo on the screen real quick. Give me a second here. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to work on this. Where are you? Right there you are. Okay. The rumor is that Ro Khanna may also be planning to run for president in 2028 rather. Now, I'm very critical of the duopoly, but I always say it like it is. I can see people making a case for Ro Khanna that in ways that I couldn't for AOC, because Ro Khanna is a genuine progressive, just like AOC is in a lot of ways. But he can articulate what he needs to have articulated, which they're not that far apart in views, their politics. And they support some of the basic issues that many of us support. We just wish the AOC would be more aggressive when it comes to fighting for these issues. But Ro Khanna is he's got the chops. He articulates his points really well into the way where I think that fence setters are kind of they will respect him. They would respect him in ways that they wouldn't AOC, and that's probably not fair to AOC, and it's unfortunate. I agree. Because on the policy issues, she's got a basic platform that I think that many of us still would like, but we would like for her to actually be aggressive and pursue it. Ro Khanna, he's able to work with people from across the spectrum and across the aisle in Congress in ways that on issues that we may not see eye to eye with many Republicans. But my understanding is that he and Thomas Massey of Kentucky, the Republican congressman, who's kind of a libertarian, the new Ron Paul in a lot of ways, they work on issues like where they agree, drug legalization or anti-war, that sort of thing. And that's what it comes down to. I don't think AOC has that ability. She's tribalist within the Democratic Party, even though she knows deep down that the Democratic Party is garbage that can't be preserved. But if you do believe in the duopoly, I would say encourage Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna is probably as good of a Democrat as you're going to find in the U.S. House of Representatives. And as I said, I really don't have any use for the duopoly or participating. But if you're going to participate, Ro Khanna is where one needs to go. That is where I stand on that. So that's not exactly still an endorsement of Ro Khanna. I'm just saying that I am probably going to do like I normally do, vote for the third party candidate, presumably Green Party candidate for president. Probably what I'm going to urge people to do. I'm going to do Green Party or some independent left wing campaign if I even do vote, because the prospects of me not ever voting again is pretty sound. Although I will comment on elections to come. I'm going to go and just say that I'm going to play one more clip real quick, and then I'll end up wrapping up with my final thoughts. So this is from Revolutionary Change. No, that's actually the wrong video. Give me a second. That's not the right video. Here's the correct video. Give me a moment here. Yeah, we can go ahead and play that. So give me a second here. We'll get it started. All right. All right, give me a moment.
Well, let me take that back. I'm very confident that she's going to run for president. So she had a lot to say regarding what is currently going on. But there are multiple layers to this. So here we go.
That's absolutely right. I think one of the connections and relationships that is under discussed, particularly in the security space, is the fact that I believe we're seeing an economy around the world, including the United States, that extreme levels of income inequality lead to social instability and drives, in a sense, in authoritarianism, right-wing populism, and very dangerous domestic internal politics. And that is a direct outcome of not just income inequality, but the failure of democracies over decades to deliver. The failure to deliver higher wages, the failure to rein in corporations. The point was just made about antitrust. In the United States, antitrust is such a foundational bedrock value, not just because the ascent of monopolies create the abuse of power in corporations and market power, but there is a level of market concentration and corporate consolidation where a massive company can get so big that its consolidated power can rival that of nation states.
So what are you prepared to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to support candidates that are supported by AIPAC? Because that's something you've been making a habit out of lately. I also want to know why they get invited to these conferences and what exactly they're hoping to accomplish. That's something that I think often gets overlooked because, again, they're looking for somebody who can step in and provide some type of an avenue that is outside of the traditional two-party duopoly lane. But what do you think you're getting with Alex? That's my question.
Yeah, Peter, that's Peter Hager. He's the co-host of Revolutionary Change, previously known as Generational Change, whereby he and Jen Perlman, who challenged Debbie Wasserman Schultz in that district down in Florida last year and in the year 2020, that Jen Perlman, friend of the show, by the way. Both are friends of the Willie Bragg show. Right. We're AOC, what is she going to do about it? AOC is not a fighter. She's not a fighter. She couldn't fight her way out of a wet paper bag. She's a pushover. She's a doormat. I hate the fact that she's that, but she is. She's a doormat. She's wimpy. She's got a pretty face, and I'm sorry to put a little sexism into it, and I do find her attractive. I mean that goes without saying. But what I'm also saying is, when it comes to AOC, is that she could look like Bella Abzug and on the policy questions. Bella Abzug was great on policies when she was a congresswoman in New York in a neighboring district back in the 70s. So the thing is, whether it's Bella Abzug in the 1970s or AOC today, the similarity is great politics, trying to get things done. And this is where AOC is seriously lacking. And so there's no way I don't do this out of malice. I'm doing this because I don't want the left to sit there and waste their time on a campaign that doesn't need to be wasted on. We got too much other shit we got to go work on. I mean, than to worry about someone like AOC running, or whether she's going to run or not. She's not going to have that much of an effect, is what I'm basically saying. So, and Peter is correct. What is she going to do about it? She's not going to do a damn thing about it. I'll place a little bit more here, and then I'll just...
To everybody who was so excited about everything that she had to say at this particular event, although I wasn't particularly impressed, to be honest. But you're going to get somebody. Somebody is going to do it. Somebody is going to run in the left lane in the Democratic Party. And what that looks like, I'm not 100% certain yet, but odds are it's going to be AOC or Ro Khanna, or possibly both, because somebody's going to attempt to do it. I'm here to tell you that if you're getting excited about that prospect, don't.
He's right. Don't get excited about AOC running. And I know a lot of people, great politics. Some of them are very good friends of mine. They love AOC. I have a lot of friends that we're talking about a lot of, I have a lot of friends who has my ideology, or I have theirs, but they are a little more normie in their approach, and they are going to go and they're going to go and try to get all excited. They did this with Marianne Williamson a little bit 4 years ago. I would argue that in the Democratic primaries, maybe some may have supported Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips said he supports Medicare for all now. Those words are very nice. We know where Joe Biden stands on that issue. We know where Kamala Harris stands on that issue. They oppose it. If you were for Dean Phillips in the primaries in 2024, or if you were for Marianne Williamson, or when he was in the primaries, even Robert F. Kennedy, sort of similar to a Tulsi Gabbard, where there was a quirky faction of the left that found something of redeeming value to Robert Kennedy. Believe it or not, and the thing is that the Democratic primaries is not very democratic. They're going to go and they're going to chew her up and spit her out. That's what they're going to do. Oh, they'll probably prop up someone like Liz Cheney, as I said, but he made a prediction that it's going to probably be Gavin Newsom and Greta Whitmore of Michigan, the governor up there. And I can see that because I actually did early on predict that it was going to be a Biden-Harris ticket. I didn't broadcast it, but I was just making my private observations, and I knew it was going to probably end up being Harrison, Biden, and Harris. That's exactly what ended up happening. And then you got AOC possibly throwing her hat into the ring. So I'll let him continue, and then I'll conclude, I guess you could say. Hold on.
Do not get excited about it, because when the rubber meets the road, Alex is going to capitulate to the system, not to the people. Now, she's speaking very carefully, very concisely, and not trying to trip over her words. Okay. Again, very often becoming president of the United States is pageantry. How well do you perform in front of the camera? That's often what a lot of people are looking for. It's the old joke from Back to the Future. No wonder your president has to be an actor. He's got to look good on television.
Well, that's almost not fair, but it is mostly accurate. And she stumbled in this conference a little bit. Okay, she stumbled. She'll probably have a coach to tell her how to do this, better timing, how to sound more confident, and that she could tell she was nervous over this and all that. The thing is that AOC is also going to be perceived as a joke. Love him or hate him in the year 2026, year of Lord, Bernie Sanders. But you know what? Bernie Sanders was able to go and make his case with confidence. AOC has that normie instinct that a lot of Democrats has that Bernie kind of still doesn't have, because he is, by all stretch of the imagination, still kind of an independent. An independent, too friendly with the Democrats perhaps these days, but he's still an independent. He is still kind of an outside force. I'm not making excuses for Bernie like I used to, but I will be more willing to do that for Bernie than I would for AOC, who has the partisan, and I'm not using the word partisan in a derogatory way. Everybody who's in politics are partisan to some degree. And if you're belonging to a party, you got to kind of play by the rules, I guess you could say. But AOC, she's not going to get the nomination. Don't even try. And I've seen some of the. I see disaster in her campaign real quick. I do. So let me go ahead and get rid of this screen here. Yeah, I don't particularly find any comfort in an AOC campaign or anything like that. And sad to say, because the Democrats do need somebody on their left flank. But here's the thing: she doesn't have what it takes to run. So I'm going to go and let y'all go in a minute because I got to get some sleep. But I will talk with y'all real brief on the chat line here. Hi, how you doing, Teresa, Willie in chat? So, AOC Pelosi got in the position and decided she wanted to focus on Korean women's skin care to fight skin cancer, of course, not to look better than Nancy at 80s, whatever. So, yeah, I remember that. AOC is very silly. I mean, she's very silly at times. Again, immaturity and lack of intellect can be two different things. Intellectually, I think she's got what it takes. She's got what it takes when it comes to policies. She is not a fighter, and that's the problem with her. She is not a fighter. And you need a fighter, and what better way to fight than to do it through a third party movement. So that's where I stand on that. So I'm going to just give AOC a hard pass and be like, nah, next time, try to get a candidate that's not going to be afraid, and I can't support a candidate that's scared by their own shadow. Seen that happen over the years. So, all right. So anyway, I don't know. I may do a video on Friday. I'm not tomorrow because tomorrow's Ash Wednesday. I could on Thursday, but I have to come to work earlier than usual. So Thursday's out. So if you see me do another video this week, I might do something brief on Friday. So I just wanted to go and mention that. So anyway, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment any ways you disagree. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share. Feel free to share the content I have on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're in fact the muckrakers of our time. Did I see Mercury? The muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms, and remember to free Nicolas Maduro, free Palestine, free healthcare for all, keep our freedom of speech free, and of course remember, at the end of the day, fuck ICE. Yes. So y'all take care. I will talk to y'all soon. I have to go get some sleep. My eyelids are very before I go, even during this live stream, I was nodding off, but I kind of kept my cool and nonchalantly did the show. So y'all have a good night.
Should have
Oh, good night.